So Floyd Mayweather is actually coming back to fight Manny Pacquiao in a professional fight. He's returning to Las Vegas in the Sphere in September of 2026, later on this year. Of course, it will be Mayweather's first pro fight since he fought Conor McGregor in 2017. And of course, Manny Pacquiao has been far more active. And even though he's not been super active and has missed long periods where he's been out of the ring, he's not been off for as long as Floyd. And he has fought, the likes of Keith Thurman, your Dennis Ugas, Barrios. He's fought some, Keith Thurman was a top welterweight and actually beat him, but he's fought a number of, decent welterweights during this time where Floyd's pretty much for the most part been retired. No doubt Floyd, keeps himself in decent enough shape. He's not like a Paddy Pimblett outside of camp and, and his outside life generally, but he's not been under the lights doing the 10 rounds, 12 rounds that Manny's been doing for a long time now. Now, of course, that's going to be Manny's advantage and definitely a reason why Manny would have taken this fight. But I suppose in the coming months, there'll be, even more information, even more news about the fight. Likely more information about why each guy took the fight. Now, from Manny's point of view, Manny's probably seeing it the same way I'm seeing it, where Floyd's been out of the ring for a very long time and Manny's been active, so he's got that advantage over him. He's got that sort of he's not going to have the ring rust advantage. Like he's not going to have much ring rust, whereas Floyd's going to be coming back with tons of ring rust because, yes, he's been active in terms of exhibitions, etc. So where you fought Tension, Logan Paul, Deji, none of these are even remotely in the same category as a Manny Pacquiao. Whereas at least Manny can say since he fought Floyd last, he fought, the likes of Jeff Horn, who was, whatever. Keith Thurman, who was at that time probably the best welterweight maybe in the world outside of Terrence and Errol. So maybe like the third best welterweight in the world at that point, right? And Manny beat him, dominated him, by the way, in my opinion, like comfortably beat Keith Thurman. Where Floyd's fighting Deji in exhibitions, Manny Pacquiao comfortably beat Keith Thurman, right? And then he fights your Dennis Ugas, who Dennis Ugas pretty comfortably beats him. But again, your Dennis Ugas is a veteran in his own respect, a lot bigger than Manny at 147, and has a tricky style. Granted, if you're struggling with your Dennis Ugas, Floyd's gonna play with you. But is it a prime Floyd? Of course, it's not a prime Floyd. It can't be. It literally cannot be a prime Floyd in there. That being said, it wasn't necessarily a prime Floyd against Manny the first time. People forget Floyd is older than Manny. Granted, Floyd's not had anywhere near the same amount of miles on the clock. Not even close. Nobody that's had the career of Floyd has had such little miles on the clock. So there is that. And of course, by the time they fought, Manny had been knocked out before. But yeah, of course, it's a huge fight. Won't be as big as the first. And they never are. Especially, both guys are a lot older. Both guys are way removed from their primes now. But it'd be interesting to see what Floyd can do in the early rounds. Because typically Floyd starts the early rounds slow. But if Manny realises that and wants to start the fight fast and feels that he can push the pace for 12 rounds, like he did against Mario Barrios, it's not like, maybe not against your Dennis Ugas, though he slowed down quite a bit against your Dennis Ugas. But again, so did your Dennis Ugas. Ugas slowed down himself and Manny was putting a pace on him. It'd be really interesting to see if Floyd can keep up with the pace. But again, just like the first fight, Manny has to hit Floyd. And Floyd, like a Shakur Stevenson, like a Terence Crawford, when they decide they're not going to get hit, you're not hitting them, right? So likelihood is, even if Manny does try and start fast, Floyd will be so defensively, sound and so defensively locked in early on in the fight, then it shouldn't really, do you know what I mean? It's not like he'll be taking tons of shots early. If anything, you might get a situation where later on in the fight where Floyd decides to not move around so much and then maybe you can pin him, like Manny did in that first fight where he unloaded a flurry. Floyd was shaking his head and laughing at him the entire time, but still, you don't want to be taking unnecessary shots and, standing there with your guard up generally is unnecessary shots, especially if you're a guy like Floyd Mayweather who has got great head movement, great upper body movement, and pretty good footwork as well. You should be able to move out of any of those situations. But Manny Pacquiao, even now, is still one of the top pressure fighters. He's still got tons of speed. He's lost a beat. He's more than lost a beat, if we're being honest. But he's definitely lost a beat where a prime Manny Pacquiao could dart in, throw and land loads of shots and exit without even getting hit. Manny Pacquiao now is a step slower, whereas he can still enter quickly and throw the shots, but he can't exit as quickly. And when you can't exit as quickly, you're there. You leave yourself to be put on the end of big shots. And that is what will happen. Even against Barrios was taking those 3-4 shots and landing 1 or 2 shots on Manny. And when you're a guy how old's Manny? Must be, Manny's, mid-40s. When you're in your mid-40s, you can't take those shots anymore. The same way you could take them in your early 30s, for example. But of course, huge fight. One of the biggest fights in years, naturally. I mean, one of the biggest fights in years, probably the biggest fight since Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Would be Manny v Pac-Man rematch. It's crazy, bro. I mean, it's a crazy sport that the boxing's turned into. It's going to be on Netflix. Who else other than Netflix going to put this fight on? Makes a lot of sense for it to be on Netflix, obviously. Biggest platform. Both guys can definitely get huge paydays. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this fight. What do you think is going to happen? How do you think it's going to play out? Was you excited to see Floyd make a comeback? Was you expecting it? Let me know what all you guys think in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.